One of the greatest escapes in history. A man who risked his life just to perform a love song. A pianist who almost played himself to death. Buckle up, this is the story of Kim Cheol-woong, the man who escaped North Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to a new episode of Past with Punchline. In today's episode, we're going to discuss one of the greatest escapes of all time, how Kim Cheol-woong escaped North Korea. Kim was born into privilege, at least by North Korean standards. His father was a government officer and his mother was a piano teacher. Naturally, he was a child prodigy, a name who whispered with pride in his small community. By the age of 12, he was already winning competitions, and he was handpicked by the regime. So he would not play for himself anymore. He would play for the party. Eventually, he earned the chance to study at the prestigious Moscow Conservatory, one of the most elite music schools in the world. And for a North Korean, that was almost unthinkable. Moscow wasn't just education, it was a different planet. For the first time in his life, Kim was outside the iron bubble of Pyongyang. He saw students walking hand in hand and laughing freely in the streets. He saw shops full with music, clothes, food, luxuries he is not used to. But most importantly, he saw freedom of thoughts and freedom of art. Inside the music school, Kim was surrounded by talents from all over the world. Students weren't afraid to experiment, to improvise, or to feel the music instead of just following orders. They would jam late into the night, blending classic with jazz and adding their own twist to century-old compositions. Kim was stunned. Music here wasn't just about pleasing a regime. It was about expression and about life. And then came jazz. At first, he did not understand it. The rhythms seemed chaotic and the melodies unpredictable. He started sneaking into clubs where Russian musicians were playing the forbidden tunes. He bought cassettes on the black market to copy them in secret. When he returned home to North Korea, carrying jazz hidden into his heart, he was no longer the same man he was. And the moment he tried to share that freedom, just a simple Western love song, the danger began. His neighbors reported him, and the police came knocking on his door faster than he could think. And they began asking questions. They weren't interested in a wrong note or disturbing the neighbors. They were after his mind, his taste, and his heart. He was interrogated, watched, and followed. Phones were tapped, friends were questioned. Even small gestures drew attention. Imagine living every day knowing that one wrong chord, one note could destroy your entire life. And for Kim, that wasn't imagination. It was his everyday struggle. And this is where he realized something terrifying. In North Korea, freedom of thought did not exist, and freedom of love, forget about it. So he had to make a very tough choice: hide and suppress his talent forever, or take a risk that could cost him everything. And then came the moment of no return. Kim officially made his most dangerous decision: escaping North Korea. His ultimate goal was to reach South Korea, where he would seek asylum. But to get there first, he had to slip through China. The problem is, escaping North Korea is not an impulsive decision. It's not like you wake up one day and you say, hey, I will just walk to the borders. It's a chess game against death. One wrong move and checkmate means death, not only for you, but possibly your entire family. Kim knew all this, so he decided to plan very carefully. The first problem he encountered was money. North Korean currency was pretty much useless in China. It's not like he could walk into a bank and exchange it for yuan. He had to sell small things secretly, barter with trusted contacts, and collect whatever scraps of value he could lay his hands on. His second problem: questions. In a country where curiosity is suspicious, asking about the border is like painting a big red flag on your back. So Kim had to be very careful, and he listened more than he spoke. He whispered questions in the right ears. Is the river shallow in winter? Are there guards at night? Always pretending that it's an innocent conversation and never revealing his true intention. The third problem, trust. In North Korea, even your neighbor could be a government informant. And if Kim told the wrong person about his plans, it wasn't just escape ruined, it was life ended. So he told no one about his plans. No family, no friends, not even his girlfriend. His fourth problem, timing. The Tumen River, where he needs to cross to China, changes with seasons. In summer, currents are too strong. In spring, petrol is heavier than usual. But in the dead winter, the surface freezes. Dangerous? Yes, but also crossable. So the coldest nights became his only chance. And his last problem was fear. Kim had been trained all his life to stay and obey. To even think about escaping was an act of treason. Night after night, as he planned, a voice whispered in his head, "You will die, don't do it." But another voice whispered even louder, "If you don't go, your music dies here." So Kim prepared, silently and carefully, gathered little amount of food, layered clothing, and a mental map of the river. No grand farewell, no goodbye concert. It was winter 2001, the coldest time of the year, and the best chance to cross. The Tumen River wasn't just water, it was a wall, shallow in some places, deep in others, frozen from the top, and deadly beneath. Guards patrolled day and night with orders to shoot. Kim chose a moonless night, and darkness would be his shield. He wrapped himself in layer after layer of clothes and carried a small bag with only essentials. No piano, no music sheets, no farewell. While he crawled through the snow into the riverbank, every crunch of ice beneath him sounded like an alarm. He kept imagining, what if the guards heard? What if the ice cracks? One mistake could mean death. Finally, he managed to reach the water, black, frozen, and waiting. When he reached out to touch the water with his hand froze from coldness. And it was the kind of cold that makes you think, you cannot survive this. But despite all that, he stepped in. And despite all the hard condition and the cold weather, Kim kept moving. The current pushed him back, but he kept going forward. Halfway through, he slipped, and he almost lost his footing. For a second, he thought, this is it. I'm going to die here. But his will to survive and to escape kept him going. He grabbed into the ice, pulled himself up, and continued his journey. After hours of walking, all voices were gone. No guards, no shots, just the sound of his own breath. Step by step, until he reached the other side. And then he collapsed on the riverbank, shaking, half frozen, but alive. And that was his first taste of freedom. But freedom did not mean safety. When Kim crossed the freezing Tumen River, he didn't exactly step into freedom. He stepped into another cage. In China, defectors are not exactly welcomed. They are hunted. Chinese authorities consider them as illegal immigrants, and if caught, they send them back to North Korea. And being sent back, that's not just deportation. That's prison camps, torture, and possibly execution. So Kim had to become a ghost. And for 4 long years, he lived in hiding in North China, moving from house to house, never staying too long in one place, and never trusting too much. He played piano secretly in churches and in safe houses, but even that was dangerous. One wrong sound, one noisy neighbor, and he was finished. He mostly got help from underground Christian networks and sympathetic locals. They gave him food, shelter, and even a piano to practice on. But with every favor came risk. If they get caught helping him, they too could be punished. Nevertheless, Kim kept going and going. And with the help of brokers and activists, Kim joined the secret underground railroad for defectors. His journey was brutal, traveling across borders in the dead of the night, hiding in trucks, bribing officials, and always one mistake away from being shipped back to North Korea. After years of hiding and running, and near captures, Kim finally made it to South Korea. He continues to live there until today, having successfully achieved his dream of musical freedom. He's now a concert pianist and a faculty member at Hansei University. In 2009, he finally achieved his debut in the Carnegie Hall, an emotional milestone years in the making. Beyond performing, Kim founded an orchestra aimed at supporting young North Koreans through music and connection, a powerful act of unification and healing. Kim's story teaches us several important lessons. Freedom matters. Even small acts like playing music can be a way to express yourself. And courage can save lives. And sometimes taking a risk is necessary to escape oppression. Passion also drives resilience. His love for music kept him going despite the harsh situation. These lessons show that even in extreme conditions, personal choices, courage, and persistence can make a huge difference. This is the end of today's episode. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any more ideas for me to cover in the next episodes, please leave it in the comments. Until next time.